When I tell people you can actually grow your hair without hair growth oils, they think I'm joking. But don't worry, I'm going to show you how so that I can stop wasting your money on hair growth scam. So keep watching. So let's talk about the science behind hair growth. I don't want to bore you guys with the whole terminologies, words, and everything. So I'll go straight to the point. Your hair grows half an inch to an inch every single month for an average person. If you have genetics working for you, you might get more. If you have any condition, it might vary, but you're going to be guaranteed half an inch and an inch every month. If you're an average person, which is so good, you can work with that. So you don't need to focus on only hair growth oils. They're not going to solve your problem. If your hair is stagnant, there's a reason why it's stagnant. Hair growth oil is not going to fix it. And don't worry, I'm going to show you one thing that is causing your hair to be stagnant so that you can stop focusing on only hair growth oils because they wouldn't work if you don't know this. So let's get straight to it. So now let's talk about what is making your hair not retain length, and it's just one simple thing, which is breakage. Your hair is just breaking more than it's growing. Simple as that. If you want to do the mathematics, it's there. Your hair is growing half an inch to an inch every single month. Your hair is breaking half an inch or an inch every month, or even more. Stagnant growth, simple as that. That's the mathematics when it comes to it. So if you're using that hair growth oil, will it solve your problem? No, because your hair is breaking and you're not fixing that problem. You're just adding you're looking for like a quick fix, which is not going to work when it comes to hair. It's just like that. Like hair, you can't manipulate it for it to work the way you want it to work when you're not doing what it wants. So don't worry, I'm going to share with you only two things that will fix that. Only two things, and that would fix it and doesn't require hair growth oils. So let's get into that too. The first thing is moisture. When it comes to moisture, it is very, very important when it comes to fighting breakage. Like, if you can work on your moisture, you've solved half of your problems. So, when it comes to your moisture routine and your wash day routine, it's not just having a routine, it's being consistent. That's the word. Being consistent is very important. So, I'm going to share with you just a short clip of my moisture routine, explain everything, my wash day routine, explain it so that you can have a good foundation to go back to and just create your own routine. So, I'm just going to give a quick rundown on everything I do for my moisture, my wash day, how you should do it, how frequently, and how to go about it so that I can get the best result on your hair. Starting off with my moisture, the first product I always keep is a deep conditioner. If you have high porosity hair, I always recommend you deep condition for your moisture routine. Very, very important. The next product is my leave-in conditioner. I like to use very thick leave-in conditioners because of my high porosity hair. If you don't know what your hair porosity is, please go and do research on that. I would make another detailed video on that, but this is just for my moisture routine. Then I move on to my cream. I love to use virgin hair fertilizer. Very underrated product, but highly, highly recommend. Then this other product is from Shine Organics. Then my shea butter. Very, very important for your moisture routine. You don't want to skip shea butter. It really, really transforms your moisture routine. So this is all the products I'm using, and I'll show you how to actually use them. So the first thing I do for my moisture routine is to start with deep conditioning. I love to just apply my deep conditioner everywhere on my hair. Then I go in with my steam cap. I love to use a steam cap. It makes your moisture routine so much faster instead of you having your hair in a plastic bag and waiting for like 40 minutes. In 10 minutes, you're literally done. After this, your hair is going to feel so amazing. It's going to feel soft. It's going to feel moisturized. Like, I love the feeling of a fresh, deep conditioned hair. So don't forget, you're going to rinse this out. This is not a leave-in situation, so make sure you rinse that out properly. Get your scalp, get all that product out. I didn't say wash, I said rinse. In my moisture routine, there's nothing like washing your hair. I'll get to my washing soon enough, but this doesn't start with washing, it starts with deep conditioning. Moving on to the next process is your leave-in conditioner. I mentioned I love to use thick leave-in conditioners because of my high porosity hair. If you don't know about high porosity hair, your hair basically absorbs moisture, but it doesn't retain it. So I love to go with thick products that will weigh down on my hair cuticles and make sure that moisture stays longer, if you understand what I'm saying. So make sure to avoid your scalp. This is a very thick butter, oh sorry, thick conditioner. So just try to avoid your scalp when it comes to thick products. You don't want build-ups, you don't want it clogging your pores, leaving your hair dirty. It can limit your hair growth. So try and avoid your scalp and only apply this to the length of your hair. Make sure you get your ends, very, 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 very important, because they are the ones that break first. Like your ends are the oldest part of your hair, so they break very easily. So you need to focus more on your moisture there in that your ends for you to be able to retain more length. If your ends are breaking, you're not going to retain length. So make sure you care for them. Your ends and your scalp are very, very important in this whole process. So just apply that to the length of your hair and we can move on to the next thing. Moving on to the next step is my oils and cream. I love to use the virgin hair fertilizer cream. Like this is such an underrated product. I highly, highly recommend. This is a product I've been using for like years and years. It's a very lightweight cream, so you can see I'm applying it directly to my scalp. Anything that is not thick, it can go on my scalp. I do not care about it. And it's also a way for me to seal in the moisture on my scalp too, because I don't use shea butter on my scalp. So this is a way of sealing in that moisture. So I love to do a good head massage just to stimulate the blood circulation on my scalp, which also helps in hair growth if you don't know about that. So with this product, I apply it on the length of my hair, my ends, my scalp, basically everywhere, and you can move on to the next thing. Last thing is shea butter. I do not skip this last step. Like since I started adding this as my last step, my moisture stays for a week now. So I love to apply this only to the length of my hair. Like I mentioned, anything that is thick, avoid your scalp. You don't want that build up. You can see I'm in a protective hairstyle. So this hairstyle is not going anytime soon, so I need to avoid any build up or anything that's going to cause my hair to break when I'm taking it down. So just avoid your scalp. Apply this to the length of your hair, your ends, focus on your ends, and your moisture would last so long. So when it comes to your moisture routine, I do my moisture routine twice in a month. So basically, after my wash day, I'm going with moisture routine. So this is something I do not skip. Be consistent, guys. Please be consistent. You need to fix your moisture on your hair for you to help that breakage. And this is just an easy, easy, easy way to actually stop breakage. So your moisture routine. And let's move on to what I do for my wash day. So when it comes to my wash day routine, it's basically the same thing as my moisture routine. Just imagine you're washing your hair first as the first thing to do. So I like to keep my routine basically the same way. I don't really change much because what is working for you is working for you. There's no need to overanalyze and do so much. So I'm just going to talk about shampoos and how to pick the one for you. So when it comes to shampoo, you can either use a sulfate shampoo or a sulfate free shampoo. I would always recommend using a sulfate free shampoo because sulfate really strips your natural oils from your hair, which leaves your hair dry. And one thing about dry hair is going to break. So if you don't actually deep condition, moisturize your hair well, it's going to break. So I would always recommend a moisturizing shampoo. If you don't have one, I would recommend the Cream of Nature Argan Oil shampoo. It's very moisturizing, very, very good on your hair. Your hair feels soft after washing it and at the same time clean. So basically just repeat the routine I did for my moisture. After washing, deep conditioning, rinse that out, go in with your leave-in conditioner, then your oils, then your cream, which is like your shea butter, and that is all for your wash day routine. So when it comes to washing your hair, I wash my hair twice every single month. So basically I moisturize twice in a month, I wash my hair twice in a month. So it means I have a routine I'm doing every single week. So any week I wash my hair, the following week I know I'm going in with my moisture routine. So this helps for my hair to constantly be moisturized. There's no dry moment when it comes to my hair, so my hair isn't breaking. So that's why I said that a good routine is like the one thing to fix that. I'm going to move on to the second thing that really helped, but moisture is something you should be consistent with. Your moisture routine, your wash day routine, you need to find products that work for you. And how to find products that work well for you is knowing your hair porosity. You can do research on that. I wouldn't talk so much on it, but find your hair porosity, find products that work well for you. It will help with your moisture. Hair porosity is just basically how your hair absorbs moisture and retain moisture. So it's very, very important. Like moisture is the key thing for that stopping breakage. So figure out your moisture, find products that work for you, and be consistent. The second thing is protective hairstyle. If you don't understand the power protective hairstyle helps in your length retention, you're not actually doing it correctly. Like, can you see how my hair has transformed over the years with just protective hairstyle? So I'm going to show you how to pick a good protective hairstyle for your hair, because if you're doing this incorrectly, you're going to still be getting the one reason why your hair is not retaining length, which is breakage. So if you're not doing protective hairstyle correctly, you're going to experience even excessive breakage compared to your hair just breaking normally. It's anything like normal breakage, but you get what I'm saying. So let's get into that. So if you don't understand the connection between protective hairstyle and breakage, I'm going to explain it for you so you can understand. So protective hairstyles, they basically help to reduce manipulation, and if you can reduce manipulation on your hair, you're reducing breakage. So when it comes to natural hair, we have like very tightly curly hair texture. So no matter what you're doing, you're going to get fairy knots, you're going to get tangles, your hair is going to break regardless. So if you're actually putting your hair away for a certain amount of time, you're reducing breakage that would happen if you're constantly touching your hair every single day. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you can reduce breakage, reduce manipulation, you would be able to retain more length. So let's talk about how to pick a protective hairstyle for your type of hair. So when it comes to protective hairstyle, people would immediately think braids, like getting braids with extensions, anything that means your hair being tucked away. But that is a hairstyle. You need to understand the difference between a protective hairstyle and a hairstyle. If you're putting your hair in braids and you're taking it down and your hair is falling on the ground, it's not protecting your hair. Obviously, there's something as like shedding, and there's also something like excessive shedding. If you're not consistent to your routine, you can experience that. But there's also something like breakage. If your hair is constantly coming out so much in that braids, it's not a protective hairstyle. So when it comes to me, I would always immediately think braids as a protective hairstyle. That's why my hair was stagnant for a very long time. My hair was stagnant for years because I would be consistent in my routine, my moisture, every single thing. I would even be washing my hair in those braids, and I laugh every single time I watch those videos thinking, oh, I'm keeping up with my routine in a protective hairstyle. I was literally still experiencing so much breakage. So you need to know what type of hair you have, whether you have fine or thick hair. This really helps for you to pick a protective hairstyle for your type of hair. So for me, I would use myself as an example because I'm sharing my experience. I have fine hair, and I didn't know I had fine hair because I would always go for braids, and I would notice the braids would be heavy on my hair. It makes it so painful, especially on my edges. So my hair cannot carry that weight, which means my hair is breaking. And once your hair starts once your hair is growing more, there's more tension on your scalp, so you're going to experience excessive shedding, excessive breakage, like your hair is going to be a mess. So I started to go for hairstyles that require no extensions, and I do my hair myself, because another reason why your protective hairstyle may not be working for you is because the person installing that hair is rough on your hair, tugging on your hair, pulling on your hair, and also your take down process, you're pulling on your hair, you're not careful when you're taking it down. That's why I said being consistent in your routine, making sure you're washing your hair, avoid build-ups, anything that will make your hair break when you're taking it down, avoid it. So when I mean protective hairstyle, the person installing your protective hairstyle has to be good. The particular hairstyle you're picking has to be good. Your takedown process has to be good. And also, I forgot to add, your routine in that protective hairstyle, very important. You saw when I was showing you my moisture routine, my wash day routine, all of that is on this protective hairstyle I'm currently doing now. And also, the last, final, and very, very important thing, you're putting your hair in a good protective hairstyle, like you found the best protective hairstyle for your type of hair, but you're keeping it for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. You're not going to retain length. Your hair grows half an inch to an inch every single month. That is very, very tiny. So imagine if you're taking down your hair with just half an inch, 1 inch. Like I mentioned, your hair breaks regardless because of how our curl patterns are, and our hair get tangled. Like it's very easy for your hair to get tangled, even though you're very, very, very careful. So for you to have a better chance at retaining more length is keeping your hair longer. For me, I keep it for 3 months, and most people be like, 3 months? That's such a long time. But we're in March now, and I'm going to be taking down my first 3 months protective hairstyle. So time flies. Like there are so many things you can be doing with your hair: wigs, hairstyles. Like you can style your twist, you can if it gets rough, you can wear a wig. Like, it's not bad. If your twist get rough and fuzzy, you might just say you're in your lock process, like you're locking your hair, and that can fly too. Like, there's so many ways you can style your hair, even though it's rough and fuzzy, like frizzy. Sorry. So there's so many ways you can style it. So don't think that you would be tired and bored of your hair. You might get bored. Yeah, you might get bored, but it's when it comes to you focusing on your length retention journey, it just means you doing less to your hair. And most people would be very not open to that. But if you're really focused on your life session journey, it shouldn't be something that would be a burden to you. You would find ways to make your hair fun, even in that protective hairstyle. So just be creative with your hair and pick a good protective hairstyle. Long term protective hairstyle is what I would recommend for you. Like, it works better that way, because even if you're keeping your protective hairstyle for a month, it's not enough time for you to retain that much length. If you want to see like drastic length retention, 3 months should be your ideal spot. If you can't do 3 months, 2 months is also good, but 3 months just hits different. Like, I retained so much length last year, and I didn't even start this 3 months thing early on in the year. So imagine if you do it for a full year. Like, please document your journey. Like, you would see how your hair would change so much. If you're really confused about how to go about this, don't worry, I have a full challenge on my channel documenting my process, sharing weekly updates. Every single thing I'm doing to my hair, you would see it there, so you wouldn't get overwhelmed. Just subscribe so you can like check my previous videos. I'll also link a very detailed video on everything I've mentioned, so you don't get overwhelmed and you know how to go about this. So we're coming to the end of this video. I really hope that every single thing I've mentioned has convinced you that hair growth oils are not your go-to when it comes to length retention or when it comes to growing your hair. Hair growth oils can play a major role in treatment, helping with strengthening your hair, but you can do without them for a while. You don't have to go straight into hair growth oil. You need to fix all these things I've mentioned. Fix your breakage, work on your moisture routine, work on your protective hairstyle. Just 3 things. I didn't overwhelm you with information, just only 3 things, and you would see drastic change to your hair. So aside this, if you have any hair issues you want me to answer, you can leave that in the comment section. If you have any questions, anything concerning my 3 month challenge, anything at all, leave that in the comment section. Might be a long video, but it's worth saying all these things, because most people would just immediately, like any trend or new hair growth oil, they immediately do it and wonder why their hair is not growing. You've been using every viral hair care product. Why is your hair still stuck at that particular length? You need to focus on these 3 things. And if this video was helpful for you, share to that other friend that buys hair growth oils that have literally a whole drawer full of hair growth oil. So it might be helpful for her too, or it will be helpful for her. So I'll see you guys in my next one. Thank you so much for watching. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.